A shocking discovery.
He's just committed a brutal murder.
The hunt for a killer.
The priority would be to locate, trace and interview him.
We don't want somebody who's suspected of committing a murder running around.
The motive, a mystery.
It's important for us to consider whether it was remorse or whether it was fear of being caught.
Now, by rewinding the events leading up to the murder, police can retrace the footsteps of the killer before and after committing the most heinous of crimes.
He burned her body just to get rid of the evidence.
And bring justice to the family.
He took a body and then he took a soul. And that's why we needed the truth.
This is the story of what the killer did next.
Staffordshire Police, what's your emergency?
Staffordshire Police received a phone call from some members of the public. They had found a dead body within a flat. She was a female that quite clearly had been stabbed a number of times. When you stab someone like that, there's going to be blood. Clear signs that someone's been stabbed violently, and not just once, multiple times. It would have been obvious to them that it was a murder. They needed to get out of that flat, lock it down as a crime scene, and make sure nobody else goes in there.
People got in touch with us to say a police cordon was in place outside the flats, and it was swarming with police outside. And that's when we went down there and tried to find out a bit about what was going on. That morning, a set of keys with traces of blood were found outside a block of social housing flats. They were found by a neighbour and handed into staff, who out of concern then let themselves into the flat and unfortunately discovered a woman's naked body face down on the bed and covered in blood. From the amount of police outside and the chaos and the cordon, we definitely got a sense that this was not just a body being found, this was something more sinister.
Staff identify the tenant of the flat to the police. It's 18-year-old Megan Newton.
The sun was absolutely gorgeous. It was a glorious, glorious day. There's a small cut through that leads you through to Meg's Road. And I remember bumping into my friend. And he turned round to me and he said, "Oh, I wouldn't go that way. There's a lot of commotion on the corner. Something's happened. Everybody's out and there's loads of police around there." And I says to him, "Meg lives around there." I carried on and then I walked around the corner. And that corner changed my life. And as I walked down the road, everybody looked at me in such a way, and then they looked at the floor, and then I knew there was something up. I was asking random people where Meg was. There were so many people. I said to this police officer, "I think my daughter's in there." And he said, "What number?" And I just pointed to a door. And he says, "I need to take you somewhere to sit you down." And that's when I knew it was Meg. But nobody had said what had happened. Just that they'd found a body of a dead girl in the morning. And then reality just set in. But shock, because I know it sounds evil, but you just hope it's not Meg and somebody else. And it's wrong, but it was Meg. I remember ringing my mum and saying to her, I need you to come down to Meg's. I need you to come, and I need you to come with Chris now. Something's happened.
And we couldn't really understand what she was saying because she was so hysterical on the phone.
All I thought was that they'd had a falling out and that I was going round to sort it out as I normally would. We thought we'd better go down, but we had no idea.
And as soon as we got there, we just saw the police.
And loads of people.
And loads of people, and everything was cordoned off, and we hadn't got a clue what was going on, and we saw Sarah.
And they come down, and I'll never forget, they're walking around the corner.
The first thing she said, she's dead. It was just shock, a total shock. He just went numb. And
I just screamed and ran across the road and just broke down on the floor. I was like, who could do this? Who on earth could do this to Meg? I just couldn't believe it.
I wanted somebody to pay for what had happened.
Specially trained forensic officers be asked to attend. They're going to be coming down and they're going to be looking for blood, for DNA, for fingerprints.
With Megan's flat being swept for clues, her body is sent for a post-mortem.
The pathologist would be looking for various things. They were looking to see exactly what the cause of Megan's death was. In this case, what they had to establish was that she'd been strangled.
She'd been strangled for, I believe, a minimum of 15 to 30 seconds, which made her unconscious. She was raped and stabbed in her back and and behind her neck 9 times. The murder was incredibly brutal.
What they would have been presented with was multiple stab wounds. What I find quite unusual with these injuries is that suggests to me that Megan was stabbed at a time when she wasn't able to resist. If you just picture it, if someone stabs you in the back, you're going to be moving away, you're going to try and get away from that person. Was she unconscious at the time she was being stabbed? That would be my thought process.
With the autopsy complete, Megan's family has to go through the trauma of formally identifying her.
When we finally got to see her, she was covered up all the way. You could see her face. It was a full identification. All her hair was a mess. And you see a little girl's face. And it's cold. And it's still. And it's nothing like it's supposed to be. And all you want to do is hug her and tell her to wake up. But you know, that's just silly. Because she's gone. And that's when there's no little doubt in your head. Because once you've seen your baby in that state, there's no denying it. They weren't allowed to touch or do anything because of the circumstances, the way she died. So it was all forensics and preserving evidence to them, which you know they have to do for the case. But to me, that was my baby. From this moment on, life was never going to be the same. And nothing I could do was going to change it. And there's no coming back. The last half an hour of her life would have been horrific. And that eats me up inside.
Now they have the results of the post-mortem. Police know they're dealing with a dangerous sexual predator.
This attack was very brutal because Megan was not only sexually assaulted, but she was also strangled, and on top of that was also stabbed as well. So there is a wide range of violence there that is quite, horrifying. So there's a clear range of different degrees of force as well, to indicate that there was a lot of anger during this attack as well, which also leads you to question whether or not there was an element of premeditation or what type of emotions heightened the level of risk on that night.
Megan wasn't just stabbed once or twice or 3 times. She was stabbed 9 times. For someone to do that, that goes way beyond anger. That goes way beyond someone lashing out. Whoever did this needed to be caught.
Police now focus on clues left at the crime scene. A knife from Megan's kitchen, the suspected murder weapon is retrieved and sent off for forensic analysis. Together with Megan's keys, which were found outside her flat.
Really importantly, there was blood on them, and it was likely to have been Megan's blood, which meant they were put there after the murder. Megan didn't put them there, someone else did. Who was it that dropped them? And that was going to be a really important question. Who was it that left those keys at the front of the house?
In Stoke-on-Trent, police are investigating the brutal murder of 18-year-old Megan Newton. She's been found in her bedsit, strangled, raped, and stabbed 9 times in the back.
This is someone who's violently killed. Whoever this was, the team have to get hold of them, and every minute that goes by, that becomes more and more important. The vast majority of murders, the victim and suspects are known to each other. One of the early things they want to be understanding is, who is this lady? Who is the person that's been killed? So as soon as they can start to understand who this person is, then they can start to build up a picture of their life. And that's when they can start trying to identify who the killer is.
Everybody loved Meg. She got one of them smiles that would win anybody over. She was always a bit headstrong. She was always up fields as she was getting older and climbing trees. I mean, even at 18, she'd still go and climb a tree.
You name it, Meg would do it. She was so daring, and I used to try and say to her, be careful what you're doing, Meg, you just don't know.
Yeah, it was always an adventure with her. But at the same time, she got such a soft heart and such a loving girl. She'd make friends with anybody. There was a little girl at primary school, a little Chinese girl that come over, and she just didn't speak English. So they sat her next to Meg, and Meg helped her. And by the time she went back over to China, she could speak a basic English.
Meg took her under her wing. She had an heart of gold, and she'd help anybody. She didn't mind putting herself out.
And she was so kind-hearted. She was definitely a lover, not a fighter. She loved people in general.
Meg played football for one of Stoke's local teams, and she coached young girls in the sport.
Meg loved football so much, she decided that that's where she wanted her career to be, in sports. Hopefully football, but even if it was in sports, she loved it. Some of the little girls looked up to Meg, and yeah, Meg loved them. You knew she was going to go far, but she wasn't going to go far by stepping on people. She was going to go far by being a good person and a nice person.
She had a massive smile. It was lovely, a really lovely smile.
And Chrissy used to say to me, stop looking across the road, because I constantly wanted her. I wanted that smile back. I just loved every minute I had with Meg.
At the end of the day, she was my best mate.
With no clear indication of who might want to harm Megan, detectives need to work backwards and piece together her last known movements.
So Megan had done a shift at a chippy in Trent Vale. She finished at about 10:20.
She'd gone to work as normal on a Friday, planned to meet up with her friends, shot home, got changed, went up to town to meet him.
Police focused their attention on the area surrounding Megan's flat.
What they would have noticed within the communal area of these block of flats is a CCTV system, and that probably would have been the most important thing for them to get. They wanted to get hold of that CCTV as quickly as possible. What did it show? Who is on it? They're very, very lucky for the investigators, because not only have they got CCTV within the block, the CCTV actually shows Megan's front door. So that's going to be absolutely crucial.
Footage shows Megan leaving her flat. She meets friends at a nearby pub at 11 p.m. Then she makes her way to a nightclub 2 miles away in Newcastle-under-Lyme just before midnight, where she spots one of her best friends, Holly.
Megan that night, she was just so happy. She had this smile on her face all night, and she was just really, she was like enjoying the vibe so much. She was really interested in showing everyone a new tattoo, which she was obviously really proud of because it was a football boot. But overall, she was just loving it. She was proper, really happy. It was always a good night if Megan was out. She just brought up the mood straight away. She'd always light everybody's face up. At the end of the night, we all just had separate plans. My plan was just to go home, so I said goodbye to Megan, said goodbye to all my other friends as well, and then we kind of just split separate ways as we left.
When Megan left the club, she got into a taxi with a friend, but they weren't alone. They were with a man.
When police trawl the CCTV at Megan's flat, they finally get a good look at this mystery man.
Who was that man? And was he Megan's killer?
After arriving at Megan's flat, the CCTV captures them both. They seem both in quite a happy mood, chatting. They definitely know each other.
From the CCTV, the first thing that's quite clear is that these people are well acquainted. It looks quite friendly and a relaxed vibe. That's on the first glance. However, on closer inspection, you can see that the body language appears to be quite different in terms of Megan appears to be quite calm, unknowing of anything, but if you look at the CCTV closer, the male appears to be looking around. That could be interpreted as he's scoping, if anyone has seen him. On first glance, there seems to be something a bit amiss there.
This suspicious man then spends nearly 2 hours inside Megan's apartment. Could this be the moment when Megan met her violent death?
The CCTV shows this man leaving the flat, but he can't get out. What he doesn't understand, what he doesn't realise, is that in order to get out a communal door, you need a fob. So he's had to go back and look for her key. He finds it, goes back out, and this time he can let himself out because now he's got the fob that allows him to exit through the communal door.
When this mystery man finally makes his way out, police spot something even more incriminating, which ties in with the evidence found near the crime scene.
You see a man leave the accommodation, throw some keys on the floor, and then you also see him looking at his hand and what is presumed to be blood on his hands.
Was this Megan's killer? He's just committed a brutal murder, and he's just handled keys that we know have Megan's blood on them.
Him looking at his hand, at that point, it could be a moment of shock for him as well.
So now, we haven't only got a visual facial image of the suspect. Potentially, we've also got his DNA, we've got his fingerprints. All they needed to now was get hold of this man, identify who he was, and link him in with this evidence, because he's likely to be the only one that knows what happened to Megan.
But it's a race against the clock to track this suspect down.
They will know if they commit a murder, they're likely to have the victim's DNA on them. They'll dispose of clothing, they'll get rid of their telephone, they'll wash their hands, they'll have a shower, they'll burn their clothes. All things to try and break that link between them and the crime scene.
Soon, one of the investigators gets a tip-off from a colleague at Staffordshire Force HQ. The man captured on CCTV is already known to police.
Now they have to make a decision. Do we arrest him? Do we bring him in? The answer to that was yes.
Police investigating the murder of 18-year-old Megan Newton in Stoke have had a breakthrough. CCTV shows her returning to her flat on the night of the murder with a man.
Crucially, they get to see exactly what he looks like. And it wouldn't have taken long for them to identify that this was Joseph Trevor. So the investigating team now would need to understand, what was he doing that night? Who was he with? Where'd he been? Joseph Trevor was arrested in connection with Megan's murder.
Whilst Megan and her friends are on a night out in town, so too is Joseph Trevor with his schoolmates.
What Staffordshire Police were able to establish was that evening, Joseph Trevor had been to Wetherspoons, and then he'd gone on to the Kiln Club, the same club that Megan had been at.
That night, me and Megan and all of our other friends too were just chatting with people from school. So one of them was Joe Trevor, but we'd only known him as a friendly boy. We just made a passing comment as we walked past each other because that's just what school friends did. From what I can remember, he seemed obviously intoxicated off the drink, but he was still managed to form, so if you could call it a sentence, like when we communicated to each other, he was totally fine with speaking.
Joseph Trevor continues the night with his crowd. Then he's spotted carrying something suspicious.
A security guard had reported him for having a bag of white powder. He was taken to the police station, searched and found to have ketamine. That was seized.
Ketamine is a Class B drug, a drug you're not allowed to have. It's illegal. At the police station, he had that taken away from him, and then he was released and told to go home, but he didn't.
He didn't want to go home because he'd taken some drugs and was worried that his parents would go mad at him.
Joseph Trevor didn't go home. He went back out again. And he ended up at the same taxi rank as Megan. What he told her was that he couldn't go home. He said that he was too drunk and he didn't want to face his parents.
So Megan offered her mobile phone. He tried to call a friend. She wasn't able to pick him up or didn't answer the phone.
Then, in an act of true kindness, Megan said to Joseph Trevor that he can come and stay at her house, that she would put him up on the sofa.
CCTV at the taxi rank captures the moment Trevor, Megan and her friend get into the taxi.
So they all jumped in a taxi, Joseph and Megan and another girl who they dropped off on the way.
Because one of our friends shared a taxi with her and Joe. Obviously, even at that point, it was our mate, like, so even at that point, you share a taxi with your mates, like, because it'd work out cheaper to drop whatever, because we're all in the same area.
Joseph Trevor clearly has other intentions. On the taxi journey back to Megan's, he tells the first of his lies.
Joseph Trevor sent a text message to his dad, falsely claiming that he was staying with a male college friend, when in fact we do know that he was staying with Megan.
Tragically, Megan had no idea of what lay ahead as she lets him into her flat, where they are caught on CCTV.
So if we analyse Joseph's behaviour in the CCTV, at this point he appears to look directly at the camera, so that's quite telling. So you also might consider, is this person looking to try to identify if they could be spotted, or are they just generally looking at the environment?
In that flat, Joseph Trevor raped Megan. He strangled her unconscious.
He went to the kitchen and got a knife, came back and stabbed her in her back 9 times.
He then left her naked, either dead or dying, on her bed. If I was to think about what kind of person commits this crime, I see a person who's feeling anger and rage, real heightened emotion.
On paper, he's not somebody that you would think it would be a murderer, as he had high prospects, a good family background, and quite stable.
He was also very well educated as well. He wanted the best for himself. He did have a scholarship to go to America to do football when obviously in university.
He was a semi-pro footballer for Newcastle Town FC. He'd actually featured in the Sentinel in matches.
So what made him snap? Was he rejected by Megan and then responded in that way?
My personal opinion is that he was likely to have been rejected by Megan, rejected his advances, and that rejection caused anger in him, caused rage in him, and he inflicted those injuries in Megan because of that.
In my experience, this is a very violent and brutal murder, and a clear example of how an act of kindness can go terribly wrong. What we've seen is an innocent young girl who had her whole life ahead of her offer an old school friend somewhere to stay, and it ended in this way.
He wanted sex that night and she didn't, so he took it, and then when he realised he took it, he didn't want nobody to know. So then he decided to kill her. And that is the be-all and end-all.
After brutally killing Megan in her own bed, Trevor casually leaves.
Quite unusually for a case, we get to see the exact moments after the murder.
From the CCTV of Joseph leaving Megan's flat, we can see him almost scoping his surroundings. This could indicate that he's trying to see if he's been spotted by somebody or if he's been followed.
And that CCTV for me shows someone who's calm. He walks away calmly. Now, I've seen a lot of murders and I've seen a lot of murderers. I don't often see them acting like this. Acting so calm, so controlled, no panic. That's what I saw from Joseph Trevor.
But the cool, controlled killer makes a fundamental error.
Joseph throwing away Megan's key so close to the scene highlights that this was not an organised attack. Throwing the key away demonstrates a lack of consequential thinking. It wasn't very well planned. It's very messy and can also demonstrate his general offending behaviour. It can indicate that this is not something that he does often, to throw away the key so close, as this is vital information for the police to pick up on.
Then the facade of the cold-blooded murderer appears to crack.
In the CCTV, we see Joseph looking at his hands, and at that point there appears to be blood on his hands. It could be interpreted as a moment of realization of, what has happened, what he has done, and then could also trigger what he did next.
Joseph left the flat and made his way to a bridge where he was seen sat on the bridge with his legs on the wrong side of the railings by a passerby. It seems like he was definitely contemplating jumping off. He probably realised the severity of what he'd done, realised that You know, people had seen him and Megan leave that night together, and he was probably thinking that was the only way out for him.
He knows his fingerprints and DNA will be all over that flat. He knows he's going to get caught. So at that time, he's thinking, can I face being arrested? Can I face going to prison?
So Joseph's behaviour tells us that he was in a state of distress. So from that we can actually consider whether he is realising what he has done and feeling that remorse for harming Megan, or we can also consider whether or not he's realising the severity of what he's done and he's thinking about the consequences, the legal implications that might occur as well. So it's important for us to consider whether it was remorse or whether it was fear of being caught.
The passerby phoned the police. They then took him to Harplands Hospital, and they assessed him and found that he was fit to go home. He was collected by his dad and taken home, and obviously at this stage no one knew what he'd done.
At home in his bedroom though, ruminating over his brutal crime the night before, the 18-year-old killer can no longer keep it to himself.
Joseph Trevor must be watching the telly, listening to the radio, looking at the internet, and he realises that Megan's murder is now all over the news. He's still contemplating the fact that he's involved, and he's pretty sure that he's going to catch up with him. Pretty soon, the police were going to be coming knocking on his door. So he decides to send a text message to his mum, in which he admits some involvement in the murder. And his mum then calls Staffordshire Police to inform them about her son.
But investigators are already one step ahead. Having just identified Trevor on CCTV, they are racing across Stoke to arrest their man and question him about the murder of Megan Newton.
He knew he wasn't going to get away with this. He knew very quickly the police were going to know it was him that killed Megan.
In Stoke-on-Trent, news of Megan Newton's violent murder has finally reached all of her friends. Many were with her on that fateful night out, in the hours before she lost her life.
I remember just finding out, and I think I just went into complete shock. I ran to my mum in the kitchen, practically screaming what had happened, and obviously that was with me being in shock because I didn't want to believe that it had happened.
But the double whammy for Megan's friends, they also discovered that they know her killer, who's just been arrested. 18-year-old Joseph Trevor.
I'd never imagined that anyone who I've been mates with would do that. It was a total shock, and I think at that point it was anger, and it was questioning ourselves to why would you do it, and what made him want to do that to someone so innocent, and who we all grew up with, like, who he's always got along with. So I think that was just what our main feeling was at the time.
When detectives start questioning Trevor at the station, it's clear he has a plan to try and absolve himself of this brutal murder.
In his interview, he chose not to answer the questions put to him, but gave what is known as a prepared statement, which is essentially him writing down what he wants to tell police. He said that he'd met Megan that night.
He told them that he and Megan had had consensual sex and that his memory was blank from then on.
If it was consensual sex, would he have needed to strangle her, to have stabbed her multiple times? Also, Joseph believed that he blanked out after the offending behaviour as well. This could be an area of denial for him, because if he denies that this happened, then that means that he is not this person that people might think he would be. He's able to protect the previous character and reputation that he had.
I guess you don't expect it to be someone who seems to have their life in order, semi-professional footballer. He had good grades at school, seemed to be a well-liked lad. I think it was definitely most people were just shocked. You know, he lived in Trentham, was quite a posh part of the city, many people feel. He had a lot going for him, definitely.
You look at these pictures of when they're at school, and he's there in the background. He's there in the classroom. That was into the same hobbies and sports. I just couldn't get past why. Why would anybody want to do that?
We'd only known him as a friendly boy throughout school, and with Joe being successful in school and in college, it also made it harder for everyone else to believe that it was actually him, because he had stuff to look forward to and he knew what he wanted to do with his life. So obviously then we were questioning as well, why would you want to ruin that for yourself too?
But the seemingly friendly grade A student, Trevor, also hid a darker side.
One day you could speak to him and he'd happily speak to you, he'd happily have a conversation with you, and then the other day you could kind of just, as if he just wanted to shut you off and didn't want any contact with you, so you wouldn't even try to approach him. You never knew if you were going to get the chatty Joe, or you never knew if you were going to get the miserable, I don't want to speak to anyone Joe.
Joseph Trevor is charged with the murder of Megan Newton. And police soon discover something in his past, an accusation for sexually assaulting a teenager when he was 15.
Was never prosecuted. Joseph had been ridiculed when he was at school. He'd been called names such as pedo, and he'd hit out before and punched somebody.
While on remand for murder, Trevor alludes to this as an excuse for his violent attack on Megan.
He did intimate to a psychiatrist a reason for why he killed Megan. He claimed that Megan apologised to him for, in the past, using names against him like pedo.
And he said that this just made him flip, basically, and was so enraged by what she said, and for some reason he just flipped and that triggered him.
How true that is, we'll never know. My personal opinion is something like that is really unlikely to trigger the violence that he used against Megan.
At his first hearing, Joseph Trevor pleads not guilty to Megan's murder. A date is set for a lengthy trial.
They booked us in for 3 weeks. We were expecting to live in hell for 3 weeks, having to go through every gory detail, everything you never want to hear, everything that you don't want the world to know.
But just before he faces justice, the killer has a change of plan.
Roughly about the week before, the detective and the police liaison turned up and they said he'd actually pleaded guilty to murder.
Despite the evidence against him of a vicious sexual assault, Trevor still refuses to admit rape. But Megan's family wasn't going to accept that.
The reason we fought so hard for the 2 counts of rape to be in there was because that would have made Meg's end of life, whose last moments, so horrific. And what he did took everything that should have been hers away from her. He took everything. He took her body, he took her mind, and then he took her soul. And that's why we fought, and that's why we made sure that everybody knew what a monster he was. And that's why we needed the truth.
The trial begins at Stafford Crown Court. It's the first time Megan's family comes face to face with her killer.
It wasn't what I expected, really. He'd never looked up, really.
He was crying, wasn't he?
Yeah, he kept his head low.
You could see him. And he just sat there like a scared little boy.
School friends of Megan and her killer are also in court.
In his statement, he said that he remembers Megan apologising for some of the stuff that she had apparently said in high school. And then after that, he said that his mind went blank. I think hearing that to us, it's just like, how can you not remember doing something so harsh to an innocent girl who was one of your friends during high school?
But just minutes into the trial, Trevor caves in, pleading guilty to rape.
Having pleaded guilty to murder and both counts of rape, the judge passed sentence to Joseph Trevor.
Joseph was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 21 years before he'll be considered for parole, and he's on the sex offenders register for life as well.
So you have the relief that he's not coming out of that jail for a long time, until he's 40. And you're just hoping that if he ever comes out after that, that he's not the monster he went in. And that's all we can hope for.
But the killer has one last word for Megan's mum.
He popped his head round before he got taken down and worded out the word sorry to me. And I've never been more offended in my life. I've never been so angry. If you were truly sorry, you would have, one, not done it, but two, not put us through this hell. To change the date, change your plate on the first day. You could have done this months ago. After we lost Meg, everybody just felt lost, and it felt horrible grieving outside where he took her life. So we decided that we were going to have a bench. I think she'd have liked to see the kids playing football and the birds. It's quite peaceful and calming. Some days it's nice to come up here, and other days it's bittersweet. The only reason I have to come here is because what he did. So you like sitting and remembering the good times. But I wish I'd have never had to come here in the first place.